Hey guys, I hope you are all doing well. So we are in week 6 of our distance learning. We're going to be talking about the circumference in the area of a circle. So I want you to go ahead really quickly, pause the video, copy down all these definitions, and then once you're ready, you can go ahead and press play and we'll move on. Okay, so hopefully if you are now listening to me, that means you pause the video, you copy down all the definitions, and you're ready to kind of start talking about some of them. So first thing, we're just going to draw some pictures. Obviously, we all know what a circle is. I'll try my best to make one that's somewhat good. Not really all that great. But you have that center point, and technically, any distance that you draw out should be the same distance from that center point all the way around the circle. Okay, then when we're talking about our radius, radius is the distance between the center of the circle and any point on the circle. So we have the center. That distance right there is our radius. And again, I'm guessing you guys probably know a lot of these definitions, but it can't hurt just to be reminded of them. Diameter, so again, we have a circle. It is going to be the distance across through the center point. So it's all the way across from side to side on the circle, but it has to go through the center. You can't have it like just going through a little piece. The circumference of a circle, so if we have our circle drawn, we said it's kind of just like the perimeter. So it's pretty much just if you were to measure going around it. Pi for us, this is our symbol for pi, and we're just going to be using 3.14 for that. There is a pi button. Pi goes on forever. It never ends. We're just going to be using 3.14 instead, okay, because that's the approximate of it. And then the area of a circle, again, you have your circle. The area is just going to be all the space inside that you're able to find. How much space is that taking up? Okay. So let's start with circumference. So the formula for the circumference of a circle, there are two different formulas you can use. The first one is 2 pi r, or you can use pi d. So again, for pi, we're using 3.14. R is our radius. So 2 times pi times our radius would give you the circumference of a circle. Remember, the radius is at half. When we say or you can use pi d, that's because the diameter is 2 times the radius. So this 2 and r is the same as your diameter. So for circumference, you can really use either formula, just depends on what you're given. If you're given the diameter, you can use that. If you're given the radius, you can use that. Okay, so let's get over to some examples. We're going to find the circumference of the circle. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth. Nearest hundredth is 2 decimal places. So for number 1, we have a radius, because it just goes to the center, of 5.1. So when I go to do this, my circumference formula is 2 pi r. So my circumference is 2 times, remember I said we're using 3.14 times my radius, which is 5.1. So you just go into your calculator and you type that 2 times 3.14 times 5.1, and you would get 32.028, but we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, so it's going to be 32.03 inches. And it's just like perimeter in the sense that it's not squared, it's nothing like that, it's just the unit. In number 2, this is where you might want to use pi d. You don't have to. You could divide 170 in half and know that each radius from here to here would be 85. And then from here to here would be 85. And then you could use 2 pi r. But you don't have to do that for circumference. So the circumference is going to be 3.14 times 170. And you would be left with a circumference of 533.8 meters. Okay? So now we have 2 more examples. These are a little different. It says find the missing measurement of the circle to the nearest hundredth. So now it's giving us the circumference. So now we're going to use our circumference formula. C is equal to 2 pi r. And we are going to work backwards to figure out what my radius would be or what my diameter would be, because it's telling us that our circumference is 70. So I can put 70 in for my circumference. That's equal to 2 times 3.14 times r. So that means 70 is equal to 2 times 3.14 is going to be 6.28 times r. I can divide both sides by 6.28. And you would end up with, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth again, your radius is 11.15 with rounding. So my radius is 11.15 inches. Your diameter, you always multiply the radius by 2. So multiply 11.15 by 2, and you would get 22.3 inches for your diameter. So let's do another example problem over here. My circumference is 500, so 500 is equal to 2 pi r, 2 times 3.14 times r. So 500 is equal to 6.28 times r. Divide both sides by 6.28, and you would end up with rounding that your radius is equal to 79.62 kilometers. So 79.62 kilometers. Again, you multiply your radius by 2 to get your diameter. So 79.62 times 2 gives us 159.24 kilometers for your diameter. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Now we're going to look at area problems. So the area formula, there's only one formula you can use for area, and that's going to be pi r squared. Again, where pi is 3.14, r is your radius. Okay, so you have to use radius here. You cannot use your diameter. You have to use your radius. So pi r squared, I'm going to do 3.14 times, and you're going to square your radius before you do that multiplication. Remember, following order of operations, exponents comes before multiplication. So now we're going to find the area of these same two circles that we were finding the circumference of up above. So again, area is equal to pi r squared. So the area is equal to 3.14 times, my radius is 5.1, and I'm going to square it. So you're going to do 5.1 squared first. Okay, so your area is equal to 3.14 times 26.01. Then you'll take that number and multiply it by 3.14. You would get, with rounding, you don't really have to round up here, 81.67 inches squared, because now we're talking about area, so area is always squared. And the reason why I said you don't have to round up here is because it would be 0.671, which wouldn't round the 7 up. Over here at number 2, you cannot use the diameter in this problem. You have to use the radius, and we already figured out that the radius would be 85. So the area would be equal to 3.14 times my radius, which is 85 squared. So do 85 squared. You get 3.14 times, you get 7,225. Multiply that by 3.14. Your area is equal to 22,686.5 meters squared. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at our last two problems. So we're going to find the missing measurement of the circle to the nearest hundredth. So for the first one, they're giving us the area now, and we are going to have to work backwards to figure out what the radius is, and then we can figure out the diameter from there. So again, we know our formula is area is equal to pi r squared. But now it's telling us that my area is 72, so I can replace area with 72. I can replace pi with 3.14, and then my radius squared. So what I first want to do here is divide both sides by 3.14. That's the first thing you want to do. And you would get 22 point, so let me write this down, 22.9299. We'll go out a little farther. That way, when you continue to solve it, you're not rounding too much, if that makes sense. If you round it off here, then you have to continuously keep rounding, and it makes your answer a little less accurate. So if we kind of spread it out a little bit here in the beginning, then when we actually go ahead and cut it off at the end, it'll be a little more accurate. So that's equal to r squared. So now I don't know if you remember this, but a while back we kind of talked about how would you solve for r here. So r is being squared. The only thing that undoes a number being squared is to take the square root of the number. So you take the square root of both sides. Hopefully you remember that because we did spend some time talking about that. So hopefully that kind of rings a bell. Okay, so if I take the square root of 22.9299, okay, I would get 4.7885, and it keeps going on. But this is now where I would want to round it and cut it off at 2 decimal places. So 4.79, and what were my units? Inches. So my radius is 4.79 inches, okay? Then to get my diameter, I multiply that by 2, so my diameter would be 9.58 inches. Okay, last problem. And these are a little tricky, so if you have questions in our live meeting, please just let me know. So the area, I'm going to put 32 in for the area. That is equal to pi r squared. So 32 is equal to 3.14 r squared. I can divide both sides by 3.14. So 32 divided by 3.14 gives me 10.1910. We'll go out to 8. Right, again, not rounding it yet because this isn't our final answer. We don't want to round too much. And that's equal to my radius squared. From there, again, the only thing that can undo that r being squared is to take the square root. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So now I can take the square root of 10.19108. Okay, this is now where we can round. So my radius would be equal to 3.19, and my unit was yards. So my radius is 3.19 yards. Multiply that by 2 to get my diameter, and I get 6.38 yards for my diameter. Okay? Now, if you do not remember where the square root button is, for a lot of you, you're going to have to press the second button. That second button that's in the top left-hand corner, you'll hit second, and then you're going to hit the x squared button. You should see right above it that there would be like the square root symbol. So just be mindful of that. And if you still aren't sure, that's always something that you can kind of Google and look up. How do I do this? Just type in the type of calculator you have, which it should say up top, and then it will tell you how to do the square root button. But I'm sure some of you guys at this point would remember how to do that. Okay, so those are our notes for today. Hopefully they made sense. Hopefully they weren't too difficult. And then we will be able to go over any questions that you guys have in class. I will see you all soon. Bye, guys.